Yeah, I mean, I personally like to joke that sometimes Rainmaker is my best weapon in Splatoon 2, just because now it is a weapon. It is so much more viable to make solo pushes or even to defend yourself. So I want to see what these higher level players are capable of over myself. Yeah, and like you said, left side is going to be. I'm wondering. I think we're going to see maybe a strong left push from either of these guys here. So. Comp-wise, we're seeing some interesting comps here between both teams. Kind of, we're seeing, License to Krill running the double splatter shot, kind of what we predicted, but we're actually seeing a Luna over here from Delta, which is a little bit interesting for me on Rainmaker. I don't usually pick that as a weapon you would run to.
Well, for those of you who were able to catch that amazing G7 series, Kagutso, arguably the best Luna doing it right now, showing that it is very viable on everything. But here, I'm interested in this mini spring pick here by Copilot. This thing is a factory for that 10 missile special. Looks like Copilot trying to kind of play this anchor role here, hold back, not go too deep here, try to build up the 10 missiles so they can splat people out. But Rafa has picked it up here. Looks like going to get caught off guard by Banana with that Tri-Slosher, another meta weapon, showing you why right there. Not in a great position, still able to get 2 people though. Tri-Sloshers, what can you say about them?
I was going to say, Tri-Sloshers, we're going to see a lot of them today. There are things wrong with Tri-Sloshers, there are things right with Tri-Sloshers, but I'm interested to see how people have adapted to overcoming the Tri-Slosher and, even InkStorm. So, I think we're gonna get learned a little something today as well.
I agree. Pretty even match so far. Both sides kind of trading control of the middle here. It looks like a pretty strong push here for Ink Delta. Copilot's going to pick it up here. Going to try to get off to this right side, but it does look like Brock is up there. I think Brock barely escaped from Rafa there. And it looks like now he's going to try to make an attempt to get around, but I think... Oh, wow! Bronze was able to get that. That was a great job. Brock going to move in. They're 3 down now, and now watch this left side. It looks like Brock's moving there.
Yeah, this is kind of what you should be afraid of. And it looked like Brock was maybe going to try to make a play there for the rails, but nope, they're actually going to try to run the wall. And this is, so for the newer players out there, this is something to sort of pay attention to, where to run the Rainmaker and how long it took them to make that push. They waited until, they had got License to Krill really, or until they'd pushed them to having very minimal players out and available. And so, they took their time. Take your time.
They did take their time, but now they've got to be careful here. The one thing about pushing left is now your right side is all the way open. We see this kind of alleyway here that Rafa's ending up going for a little bit open. If Noreen is able to use her Inkjet right here, and it looks like she is going to. Not yet. Is she going to be able to get 2? No, unfortunately down there, not able to utilize her Inkjet. Rafa kind of caught alone there. Toon's going to try to come up and make a play here. Very strong defensive play there by Brock, knowing that he didn't have to go in that fast. And you see, didn't it just seem like going right here is so much more difficult than left? I mean, they went left barely and got it to 37, and that push on the right only able to get to 49.
Especially, yeah, because you can spawn, and generally that leaves the team open to just sort of continuously pile in unless you can wipe them all pretty concurrently and very quickly. And especially when we see here that it seems like our Brush has taken up the mantle of being a more forward player. That's a really tough spot to be in on the right-hand side there, as everyone can just see you sort of coming in and trying to make the push.
Absolutely, and it's kind of interesting to note both sides do have 2 Inkjets. We talked a little bit about the pregame as we see Bronze running from another Inkjet, and now Brock running into an Inkjet. But Inkjet is one of those, along with Ink Armor, the special that has really emerged as kind of the dominant force here in the early days of Splatoon 1. And a lot can change here, but the Inkjet is one of the few specials that can take out or even 3 opponents by themselves. See Copilot here going to offer a little support with his own special, the Tenta missiles, but again, this has been a very even game. You see control going back and forth in mid. Both sides have made 1 or 2 pushes, but that's pretty much all we can say so far. Both sides doing a great job of not going too many down at any one time in the game.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a good job at keeping a track of who's alive and being sure to anchor themselves in really appropriate locations. Even here we see, Brock making pushes very far forward, but he's being super spatially aware about where that's going to leave him and if he has an out or not.
It's actually pretty big there. Going down there was Smiley. Smiley tried to get around the backside for a flank. Banana might be able to get 2 here. No, Noreen can do a great job. And 35, again, it's not how far you've pushed it over the course of the game. It is your furthest push. It looks like Ink Delta going to have to move just back a little bit. And, yeah, it looks like they're going to get one more chance here. Only 20 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. Really, it's going to depend on how far they can get him down. With the Brush being out right now, that's a big deal. With the Luna being out next, that's going to be pretty tough, especially if they do decide to make a left-hand push, because that requires Toon and the rest of them to really be able to be more predictive.
They do have a lot of control here in the middle. They do spot out Copilot on the right. Oh, Smiley barely sneaking around that time. Going to have to find a way to get out because that Inkjet is going to come in right now. Copilot's going to sneak through, and now Smiley having to retreat all the way back to mid. Smiley is alone here, and that is going to be a very methodical breaking down of that push by Ink Delta. Great game one for them.
Yeah, that was, you know what, that was a great first game to watch because you really got to see the sort of calculation between the two. And kind of what you said, it really just came down to the one great push. And, it was a great push, but there was a lot of back and forth there. Very appropriately seeded teams, I'll say that again, just going head-to-head. As you saw, great plays from the Splatling, which was a little bit, it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that, so...
Yeah, Mini Splatling still a very strong weapon in this game. It is not the Zimmy. The Zimmy is gone. But the main weapon, of course, no slouch, paints very well. Burst bombs allowed to get around and move. And, of course, those Tenta missiles, very good when the situation rises. But we're going to move on to Splat Zone's Inkblot Art Academy. This is a very, very interesting map. A lot of different weapons can be strong here. A very, very big zone with some verticality in the middle. So what's your take on this map?
Inkblot was one that we saw for E3 with Deadbeat, and it was interesting to see because I believe it was, at the time, I think it was either just Turf or Splat Zones. So Splat Zones here is pretty interesting. There are so many viable entries in and out of that center area, and the thing about that center area is that sort of what you mentioned, that high rise, that a little bit of that verticality. If you can get 2 or 3 of your teammates up there to be able to just pop up there, maintain, and jump down, I mean, that is such a huge portion of the zone, and that helps you to just keep people off your zone. It's a nice watchtower, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see sort of what the loadouts are for this particular map, and I'm excited just to see how it gets played, and sort of if that is the contingency point, if they are fighting back and forth over it.
Inkjet able to get up to that raised plat area very, very quickly, so if you've got an Inkjet used for this map, we saw 2 Inkjets coming out for both teams last time. It looks like it's going to be a pretty similar comp here, although we do finally see our first sniper coming out here.
Yep.
That is Smiley that's going to be playing it here. So we also see a pro, we see a regular blaster. So I was actually expecting to see a lot more shooters than I'm seeing right now. Very interesting.
It is interesting. I wonder how kills are really, kill speed is going to play into this. We obviously Ink Armor is going to be a thing we're going to see a lot of, but otherwise, yeah, I'm a little off guard, but in sort of a nice way to see the blaster and the splatter shot.
And of course, we do see the Tri-Slot here, Toon, doing a kind of take control of one side, create an advantage for his team. You know, you don't always have to have everything, but you've got to have at least something that you can work for. I love Noreen going in here. Rush, one of the best in the game at doing that jump down, but I believe it is the combination of the Tri-Slosher and Bronze going to take them down, and they might have sent too many in too quick. That is one thing that can happen if you overextend.
Definitely a rough team push there. I think it would have been fine just to to leave Noreen sort of just suss that out and maybe anchor yourselves. But, those things happen, and it's definitely still early enough that it could change. It could change very quickly.
Solid job here from License to Krill getting control. Bron's going to do a great job and take down that Tri-Slosher. Anytime your opponent's Tri-Slosher is down, you have to be happy. Going to have to be careful here. Does wait out the Inkjet. And now we see another advantage coming here on the right side. The Luna Blaster going to be able to put a little pressure here. And one of them does go down. Going to be able to push the sniper back, but they have not yet taken control. Although, with the sniper going down now, you're going to take control just like that.
Yeah, that was, unfortunately, Smiley was sort of left there to be on his own a little bit, and Rafa just took that opportunity perfectly. But, they're still not ahead over there, so I'm interested to see. I didn't think about it much, but that Splattershot's playing a good anchor point as far as being a shooter, being able to paint a lot of the zone without even having to really push on it. Great. That was actually a great pick, in my opinion.
Splattershot Pro, one of those weapons that's so great at keeping paint up because it does have that new InkStorm special that we see go up right there, and actually opting to use it
A little further forward.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive of a position. I like it. Get that plat painted. They don't have anybody up there to put pressure, but it does stall the team just long enough for them to wait out their penalty and retake the lead.
Yeah, I think it was a great move. A little bit of a risk, but all in all, it forced that team to sort of reposition, because you can very easily get splatted via an InkStorm if you're stuck in it for more than just a few seconds, especially if you've taken prior damage. So, good move, push him around a little bit. Unfortunately, it didn't quite pay off in the long term, but it did get penalty points out there and allowed them to take theirs down. So.
Bron's doing a great job using that ink armor, knowing that he can take a bullet or two and still be all right. And they are, once again, taking it such a swingy map, both sides taking it back and forth. For those of you new to Splatoon, whenever you take a zone back from your opponent, a penalty is applied based on how long they have held the zone for. And that's a full wipe. I think Toon got 3 of those. So everything that I said may have just been a moot point. But it is an interesting mechanic that Splatoon does it uses it to, I guess, make it to where you're never too far out of the game. There's always a chance for the comeback.
Yeah, it's a great mechanic. You don't see in a lot of games. Having to work your way out of, especially if you've gotten it to 2 and you have a penalty of 70, it allows the other chance, the team to have that chance. And I think it helps balance the game definitely a lot more. We see Toon just sneaking around up here, really putting pressure on. This is kind of a good spot for them, but the team itself may not want to push too far.
Yeah, unfortunately, just too many deaths there on the part of Licensed to Krill. Things were going so well for them, and then they went 4 down. One of the things in Splatoon that is so important, and one of the things the best teams in the game do, is they never seem to go more than 2 down. They always keep 2 alive. They always keep some pressure on the objective. When you go 4 down, it allows the other team to take your plat, and that's exactly what happened there. Toon, 14 KA, along with the 4 ink armors, doing exactly what we thought he would do. And great players make great plays.
Yeah, I think Toon was especially because Toon is an aggressor, and it was great to see the plays come out there.